We should talk about the Super Wildcard round, at least
We had a good weekend.
Aftermath. We actually did. You were 5-1. Hey, if the Cardinals had come through for you, you would have been 6-0. I was 4-2 straight up because I made two stupid picks. I trusted the Patriots when I should have taken the Bills, and I let that. And, it was a combination of I did have a gut feeling that the Steelers could make it interesting, and for 15 minutes they did. And part of it was I just kind of wanted to have some fun. I really did. I wanted to have some fun. I shouldn't have picked them. I admit that in hindsight, but I still had a mild gut feeling, and I would have hated myself if they had won that game and I hadn't picked them. So I live with it. It's fine.
Yeah, that's all right.
You gained no ground. You gained one game in the category where I'm up 14.
Doesn't matter. Shit, I know.
Right.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
It's the other categories where you needed to gain ground, and I just assumed you would. I thought you were going to gain a couple straight up. I had no idea that I was 2-0 best bets. I just assumed it was 1-1. I had forgotten what my best bets were. We both took the 49ers. I took the Bucks. You also had, who else did you have? You had the Chiefs to cover, and you got that.
Right.
So we were perfect on best bets, but not a bad weekend. Not a bad weekend. I'm getting closer and closer to the finish line. There are only 7 games left for the remainder of the postseason. Spoiler alert, we will not do a 1-hour PFTPM Chris Simms Unbuttoned Joint Mega Picks podcast for the Pro Bowl. We will not be doing that.
Thank God.
So there's only 7 games left for this weekend. Let's get to it. It all begins on Saturday afternoon, 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have been installed by PointsBet as 3.5-point favorites with an over-under of 47.5. I mentioned earlier today, I have 2 that I feel good about. I have 2 that I don't. This is one of the ones about which I feel good, which means this will be the first one of the weekend on which I am completely wrong. Who do you like in the first game to start off the divisional round?
Well, let's do like what we did last week. You want to break down like the Bengals offense versus the Titans defense first and kind of just ping-pong some things there, right? Again, this Bengals offense, it's dangerous. We know that. They can do a little bit of everything. They got every playbook known, every play in the playbook known to mankind. I guess what I worry about first off with the Bengals is, can they really assemble a running game that can threaten the Titans? I'm not sure they can. Again, we know one of the weak spots of the Bengals is their offensive line, and the Titans have an unbelievable run defense. So I look at that and go, oh, okay, there's advantage Titans. Now you get into the pass game, and that's where it gets a little interesting. It really does. If there's a weak spot to that Titans defense, it has been pass defense. We've seen some offenses move the ball through the air that way. The Bengals, of course, with all the weapons they have, they're dangerous there. But I guess what I come back to too a little bit with the Titans, there's 2 things I look at here to just go, wait, their pass rush, even though it maybe didn't live up to expectations throughout the year, I just look at it in this game healthy. Bud Dupree's had some time off. He's going to be closer, to 100% back to where he was ACL. There's too many good defensive linemen on this Titans D-line. They're pretty deep as well. I look at that and go, well, I think their D-line's going to be able to pressure Joe Burrow and make him uncomfortable that way. And then, the Titans are game plan specific on the defensive side of the ball. As far as you don't know exactly what you're going to get. They are going to change things up according to who they're playing and what they got to do to stop that football team. And I think that's always a great playoff advantage for those type of football teams. So I look at that side of the matchup, Mike, and as close as it is there, and I love the Bengals, and probably in totality are a better offense than the Titans are a defense, but I don't know if they match up that great with this defense, and I probably give the advantage to the Titans a little bit more in that matchup as compared to the Bengals offense. What about you? It's a close one.
Well, I'm fascinated by Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by the fact that he is maturing, developing, progressing, elevating before our eyes. The magic he brings to the postseason arena, what he did at LSU in his second season, what he did last week against the Raiders, just enough. Now, look, I'm troubled by the fact that they let the Raiders hang around, and maybe that's a Bengals defense issue, but it's also the absence of killer instinct early. I had that thought when they were getting field goals instead of touchdowns.
Sure.
Remember, they had the opportunity early in the game when Derek Carr had the strip sack, short field. It could have been 14-3. It was 10-3. That, to me, was the moment where the Bengals could have laid the lumber to the Raiders and really pulled away and blown them out. So the Bengals, if they have opportunities to score touchdowns, they need touchdowns, not field goals. And I'm not saying go for it on fourth down. I'm not saying that. I'm saying get the touchdown on third down. Get the first down on third down. Keep the drives alive. You've got the weapons to do it. And maybe you're going to have a hard time running the football with Joe Mixon. But you've got Jamar Chase. You've got T. Higgins. You've got Tyler Boyd. You've got C.J. Uzomah. You've got the weapons. And Joe Burrow's got the moxie.
Yes,
and he's got the
they got all of that.
And
I know.
He doesn't know he's not supposed to be as far as he's progressed. To me, that makes the offense dangerous, but they can't squander opportunities. When they get opportunities to score touchdowns this week, they have to take advantage of them or they'll lose. And I don't know whether they will.
Yeah,
I don't know whether they will.
That's a question.
Because they didn't at home against a lesser defense. So, yeah, they won the game, but that doesn't mean they've unlocked the key to the 49ers and Joe Montana 1981 Super Bowl run all the way to the top and winning it all. I don't know that they're ready to do that yet. Maybe next year.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm concerned about the offense.
I agree.
It should not have been a 7-point game last week, and the offense had something to do with that.
Well, and scoring touchdowns against this defense is not easy. That's the other thing, too. I mean, we're talking about one of the better, defensive teams when it comes to points scored in football. I mean, they were the fifth best defense in that category. And that's where, it could be tough sledding down there in that area. And I don't think the Titans want to play man-to-man. That's not what they are. They haven't been that all year, so that's not going to lend itself to Jamar Chase back shoulders and, T. Higgins jump balls. That's where it is a really interesting one. Listen, I think I look at this and go, if the Bengals, I just had a little more faith in their offensive line, right? And I know Joe Burrow, the most sacked quarterback in football, and some of those are his fault. It's like an Allen or a Mahomes or Russell Wilson in his prime a little bit. You got to live with some sacks because he's trying to make magic happen, and he makes a lot of plays avoiding sacks. But, I do worried about this group. Again, like when you talk about Harold Landry and Danico Autry and Jeffrey Simmons, who's one of the best defensive tackles in football, and then, of course, you get into Bud Dupree and some of the other guys they got as far as their supporting cast. It's a pretty good damn special group, and I think that's what scares me. I could see the Bengals throwing the ball and making some plays against the Titans. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do it consistently because I'm not sure they're going to be able to block them well enough, and that'll be one of the keys to the game for whoever comes out victorious. All right, you want to flip it over to the other side?
Let's flip it to the other side because it's been 9 games that Derrick Henry hasn't played for the Tennessee Titans. By all indications, he will be back. And the Bengals defense, not special. Good, not great.
Right.
And they don't have Larry Ogunjobi and Derrick Henry. Did I mention he's back? And
yeah.
I think that makes a potentially gigantic difference. Titans have been fine without him. Deontay Foreman's come on. It's been great to see. Former Texas guy who had 2,000 yards back in 2016, 17-ish, never really caught on in the NFL, finally flourishing. But if Derrick Henry's healthy, watch out. Watch out for one of those 80-yard runs, bust through the front line, get past the second level, and good luck chasing him down.
It is scary that way. Larry Ogunjobi, like you talked about, I think that was one of the more under-the-radar injuries from last week's football game as far as what affects this week. The Bengals are they're a pretty good run-stopping defense. They are. I mean, they're not the Bucs or the Saints or the Tennessee Titans, but they're that next level of group down. It's kind of one of the, better things they do that doesn't get a lot of notoriety. But that, to me, is a big injury. It definitely is. Trey Hendrickson, he's a little beat up. He should be able to go, but I haven't heard what the status is with him exactly right now. And what I worry about is kind of what you talk about. Yeah, them being able to run the football and then worrying about safeties in the box or playing cover 4. And then this is the ultimate team, like we saw a little of the Packers earlier this year where they ran the ball and have some balance, so where now you can hit some big shots over the top against them. I think that's what scares me a little bit about that matchup as far as the Bengals. I think they can slow down the run to where maybe they won't get totally smashed, but to what effect or to what amount are you going to do it to stop that? And now you're going to leave A.J. Brown and Julio Jones in some really good situations. I just look at that as being one thing that's really going to be a key to this football game because Tannehill, A.J. Brown, I think it's a special combination. They got a great play-action passing game. It's been as efficient and as explosive as anybody in football the last 3 years. And That's where it's like, okay, Bengals, how are you going to do this? How are you going to balance them taking their shots down the field with also stopping Derrick Henry? It's not overly complicated, but like we talk about a lot, the Bengals the Titans offense at least makes you defend the whole field. Maybe not as sexy as some other offenses, but they do, and that's going to be an issue for this Bengals defense.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, and we were fascinated by the potential of this Tennessee offense from the moment they traded for Julio Jones. Not that Jones has been a godsend for the Titans, but you get Jones, you get Brown, you get Henry, you got a problem. You got a problem, and Ryan Tannehill is just good enough to make it go.
Right.
And you know, look, we did our quarterback confidence draft earlier in the week.
Yeah.
I mean, Do we, between Burrow and Tannehill, do we have faith that Tannehill can make big throw, big spot if and when he needs to do that? Get a touchdown instead of a field goal?
I do, yeah. I do have that. I mean, that's, you know, he's got big playability. He's certainly not Joe Burrow, and I'm not trying to put him in his class because I think Burrow is, you know, starting to border on that top 5 quarterback in football conversation there. But Tannehill is disrespected, and the numbers bear that out. You've heard me say it a lot over the last 3 years as far as how his deep ball throwing goes. When they do it, it's on the money. And here's another aspect I think that like jumps out to me, and you kind of alluded to it a little earlier. I think there's a part of the Bengals that are just happy they're here, and they got the monkey off their back and they won the game. I feel like the Titans, how could they not be looking at the national media and going, can somebody give us some fucking respect? We're the number 1 seed in the AFC. And as edgy as Mike Vrabel is, I have a hard time thinking he's not pushing the buttons to these guys a little bit. Like, oh, you got no chance. Hey, you know, look at all the betting here. You guys are like the 6th best team in the NFL here, even though you're the number 1 seed. I just think they're going to be edgy and ready to go, too. And because of that, I'm picking the Titans to win the game. I'm going 27-21 Titans. I think they win at home and host the AFC Championship game.
I got 24-17 Titans, so we are on the same page there. And they, just 2 years ago, saw what happens when the 1 seed gets complacent, when the 1 seed isn't ready, when the 1 seed lets its guard down and gets caught by that George McFly roundhouse, and they get turned into Biff, and they can't ever snap out of it.
Right.
That's what the Titans did to the Ravens.
Right.
And I think Vrabel will know how to coach his guys away from that same pitfall. They have to jump on the Bengals early. They have to be hungry. They have to be pissed. And you're right. There is a certain element of we've already won our Super Bowl by winning the division and winning a playoff game. The rest of this, it's a tough road.
Yeah.
And, hey, you know, whoever wins this game is going to have to go to Kansas City. Well, if it's the Bengals, they'll have to go to Kansas City or Buffalo. Obviously, the Titans would be hosting the AFC Championship. But if the Bengals pull this off, they know that they're going on the road again.
Right.
They know that they got a potential problem. Wait, were they? Yeah, they were the 4 seed.
Yeah,
right?
You're right.
They
played as 4 or 5. Yep, you're right.
Yeah.
They're below the
So
Bills
they'd have to go to Buffalo or Kansas City.
Right.
And yeah, I think that those intangibles will be a real factor, and the Titans will end up winning the game. That's one of the ones that I felt pretty good about.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.